Hello there everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I am going to talk about the brand new film Aztec Batman Clash of Empires. So Aztec Batman Clash of Empires, I guess like essentially like the Spanish title, Batman Azteca Shock the Imperios, is an upcoming Mexican-American adult animated superhero film featuring DC Comics characters. It is a collaboration between Anima with Warner Brothers Animation, with Juan Mizilion as director and writer. The film will be released on HBO Max and in Mexican theaters by Cinepolis Distribution on September the 18th, 2025. So, this film, first of all, has a crazy cool trailer, and the story, I guess, the Batman Aztec story is so interesting to talk about. So, alright, let's talk about the plot. So, the father of Yuhali Cotual, I think hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right, a young Aztec boy is murdered by Spanish conquistadores. As an adult, Cuatil, I think, is a priest in the court of King Moctezuma II. Works with his fellow clerics in the temple of Tsinakan to defy the Spanish invaders and protect their people using the masked persona of the Batman. So that's very, very interesting. So the cast, I think I'm going to butcher these names very wrongly here, but okay. Horacio Garcia Ruas as Yuhali Cuatl, aka Batman, a privileged boy born into the nobility of the Aztecs and whose life crumbles when Spanish conquistadores Hernan Cortes murders his father. As a man, he takes on the persona of Batman, a masked warrior who fights for justice and to exact the revenge on Cortes while concealing his true nature behind the facade of a simple priest. Omar Chaparro as Yoka slash Joker, formerly a respected priest until he hears the voice of Huitzilopochtli, I think, telling him to engage in human sacrifice, causing him to lose his sanity and disfigure himself. Alright, Alvaro Morte, I think, as Hernan Cortes slash Two-Face. The conquistadores aiming to conquer Tenochtitlan for gold. Arrogant and greedy, he survives an attempt on his life that leaves one side of his face permanently scarred and compulsively flips a stretched gold doubloon, I think, to decide the face of his victims. So, first of all, the story of Batman itself is a very interesting one. Obviously, Bruce Wayne, Batman, Gotham City, his parents were murdered in an alleyway in Crime Alley. So, there we go. Obviously, in Gotham, quite literally anything is possible because that's kind of essentially like a Western city, right? You have obviously cars driving around, you have people that take on different personas, different characters, right? Obviously Catwoman and the Joker and Harley Quinn, and people that fight crime or commit crimes in a very I guess not really I want to say utopian city, but it's essentially like, if you live in Gotham, you have it pretty alright, I think. Obviously there are crimes going on everywhere. You have Batman and his Bat family trying to stop those crimes, but I think that's pretty privileged, obviously. But I'm going to compare it now with the story set in the Aztec period. Obviously the Aztecs were, I guess, obviously the empire of the Aztecs fell and the Spanish conquistadores actually took over America, which obviously later becomes Mexico. And obviously, the colonialism, right? Colonialism of America. So, obviously the Europeans going to America. That's like an entirely weird story, obviously. Europeans thought that America was theirs to take, and there we go. But obviously, now we have this Aztec warrior which calls himself Batman fighting the Spanish conquistadores, and I think that's such an interesting and fascinating idea and story. Holy damn, it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious, but somehow, some way, I think it all makes sense. Doesn't it? It makes sense, right? You have obviously Batman, or I guess this Aztec warrior, trying to stop invaders from entering his city. And I think you can compare that to the modern day Batman, where obviously Batman needs to stop crimes going on in Gotham, but now obviously the Aztec Batman needs to stop Spanish conquistadores from taking over his city. And I think somewhat that's kind of I think kind of interesting to talk about, because I think this film, I've never seen this film before, because there was never a story about Aztec Batman. So I think Aztec Batman, people theorize that the Aztecs kind of had like this Batman figure because there was like a helmet found. I'm not quite sure if that's real and legit, but this story looks like an absolute blast, and I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I think it's going to be very worth it. So override. Wait, I want to say alright and obvious, and obviously like in one word, which kind of came out very weird. But obviously, this film also has this production, right? On June 13th, 2022, at the Guadalajara International Film Festival, HBO Max Latin America announced that production on the film had begun, the first collaboration of Anima and Warner Bros. Animation. The film is directed by Juan Meza Leon and produced by Anima's Jose C. Garcia de Latona and Fernando de Fuentes. The film is based on Batman-centric characters and is completely produced in Mexico. Sam Register and Thomas Yanklevich, served as executive producers, while Alejandro Diaz Barriga served as a cultural consultant. Some reviewers say that the collaboration between Warner Bros. Animation and Latin American companies is like one of many, noting that HBO Max Latin America is aiming to release 50/70 Latin America branch originals. Whoa. Okay, that's interesting. In June 2022, Horacio Garcia Rojas was cast as Batman. By September 2022, Ariane D. Berger and Karina Schultz joined the film's production team. Aztec Batman Clash of Empires is set to be released on HBO Max and in Mexican theaters by Cinepolis Distribution on September the 18th, 2025. So, obviously, the Batman story, like I said, it's kind of, I want to say, it's kind of made with lots more care now. I think the Batman story in this film is going to be very interesting to see. Obviously, like I said, the Batman characters will kind of be adapted in this film. Like in the trailer, we obviously seen the Joker, Batman, Two-Face. We also have a Catwoman, a Poison Ivy. So I'm really interested in how they're going to connect to the story. And the thing is, I really want to see a sequel already, because I think what you have here is a great new story to be told. And as a fan myself from Batman and from films, I think you can do so much with this idea. I think Batman Aztec can be maybe a brand new franchise that DC will set up. Obviously, if you have a sequel, how are other characters going to be incorporated in that story? Like, obviously, for example, Robin, Nightwing. Obviously, we have like Batgirl. Is there a Batgirl in this universe? Or will there be a Batgirl in this universe? Will there be, for example, let's see, I think the Penguin, is he going to be in this universe as well? I'm really excited to see where the story is going to go next. So this film, obviously, the film explores themes of resistance against colonialism, cultural identity, and the clash between two powerful civilizations. Because I'm a big fan of like, I would say Native Americans, things like Aztecs. The Aztecs were obviously, I guess, kind of a group who lived in now what is now known as Mexico, before obviously the Europeans took over that territory, the Spanish, I guess, Inquistadores. So that's really interesting to see. And yeah, it's kind of like these couple of like, I want to say years, we've got great stories, obviously, which originate from the Native American side. For example, just we had Prey, which obviously was set in North America, which obviously was also set during that time when colonialism in America started, or actually was going on. And there's this I guess Native American girl trying to stop a predator, which is like an alien, much more, I guess, evolved than humans are, and its powers, its weapons are much more interesting and much more stronger than our weapons and that time. And I think that's really interesting. We also had Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which Namor is kind of like essentially also from Aztec origins. So that's really, really interesting. I'm really interested about Native American cultures, and I'm just a big fan of whatever they can pull off with that kind of story, obviously. So let's see. This is a bold project, admitted director Juan Meza Leon, joined on stage by character designer Marvick Nunes and art director Diego Olascuga, promising an alternate take on the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire, but also opening up about his protagonist's surprising yet apparently historically accurate look. So, which is very cool. Obviously, the suit itself, the Batman suit, obviously it's inspired by the Aztec culture, which is really nice. Obviously, we also have the Joker, which you can clearly see that this is the Joker, but you can also see that it's a different take on the character, which is really nice. And Two-Face is now this Spanish conquistadores with literally two faces. Like one half of his face is burned, and there's this helmet in front of him, which is really interesting. So yeah, there we go. No big jaw, no big shoulders, slimmer, a little less Schwarzenegger, a little more Bruce Lee. We had to focus on the man underneath the armor, he said. We wanted to be true to the story we were telling. We hired an expert on Aztec matters who was advising us every step of the way, added producer Jose Carlos Garcia, the Latona, sorry. It was said expert who, among others, suggested opting for a leaner physique. That's interesting. The word you are going to keep hearing is authenticity, even though it's a fantastical story, observed Peter Girardi, executive vice president of alternative programming at Warner Brothers. We have done different interpretations of Batman in the past, specifically in Japan, so it's a format we were familiar with. But it's a whole new story, set in that specific time. It wasn't about saying, oh, he has a shark repellent, he's shark repellent now. No, yeah, oh, he has a shark repellent now. Yeah, obviously that's kind of camp, but he said, referring to an infamous moment in the Batman canon, when Batman has like a, shark repellent spray or whatever that he can scare off sharks with. We explored having him tear off his cheeks as a form of sacrifice, but we got to note that it was a little too gory. So obviously we also introducing his very own Two-Face Spanish conquistadores Hernan Cortez, played by Alvaro Morte, as well as Forest Ivy, Poison Ivy, inspired by the legendary Mexican actress Maria Felix, faithful Akatzun Alfred, and Jaguar Woman, Catwoman. She's the one who helps him embrace his spiritual animal and to become this warrior. The Aztecs only fought during the day, but she is a little thief in the night, the Robin Hood for the Aztec people. She is teaching him how to make his way around darkness and is used as a weapon. So in typical Batman mythology, they have all these overnight transformations, but Yohali doesn't immediately have this armor, and the same goes for Yoka. Still, as he starts using the Bat God Tsunokon's temple as his lair and uses the technology from the Spanish to fight him and to avenge his father, explained Meza Leon, things are about to get serious. I didn't want it to be some cartoony thing. I wanted it to be serious, dramatic, and dark. As a Batman fan growing up with the Aztec culture, hearing those two words together, pow! It just had so much power. Like I said, it's so obvious in a way. Like, I'm really happy that they made this interpretation of Batman, because a lot of Latin American people are now, I think, kind of leaning into this, cultural significance, if that makes sense. If this story were released in theaters and on HBO Max, I'm a European myself. You can pretty much hear that at my accent, but I'm still very excited to see what they'll do with Batman if they have a great story. And now they have this great story and this great, I guess, cultural significance to it. I'm really interested. I'm really interested. I just said it before, but can't wait to see this film. Actually, I'm very excited that all this Mexican talent is working so hard to elevate Latin American animation. This is a big project, and hopefully it will be just the beginning of many things to come, he said, before answering some questions from the clearly excited audience. How about Batman's no killing rule? Oh shit, we have to make some changes, he joked. Yes, we definitely implemented it. He incapacitates, so Wait a second. I can't really pronounce that word. Incapacitates in his opponents in the film, but he doesn't kill. Okay, you are disappointed. Take this guy out of air security or whatever. That's what the director said. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Batman is still having this rule that he can't kill, but obviously Aztecs are. I don't want to say like I don't know, like more brutal. I'm not quite sure. Like I have heard stories where they sacrifice humans. I guess their own people, which is kind of horrifying to hear. But hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's pretty much it for me today. I'm really excited to see this film, and I can't wait to actually hear your guys' opinions and thoughts on it too. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will check you later. Goodbye, everyone.